Finally, the day is here. I'm doing a 70-mile loop today. The reason why I've been putting off this ride is it just takes a while to drive here, and then 70 miles of bike riding. You kind of have to have a day off, and today I have a day off. So I'm here at the State Road 50 Trailhead. So it's at the Suncoast Parkway and State Road 50 here on the north side of Tampa, Florida. And so I've started a ride here before a couple times, so we're going to do that again. And this is a loop. So what do we like about loops? We don't have to backtrack and see the same thing twice. And I know that towards the end of the ride, I've been there before, and it is beautiful riding. The only downside is I got a late start. It's after 9 a.m. and it's the very end of August here in Florida. It's already over 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So I better get on this bike and start riding. What we'll do is I'm going to show you some really cool sights, especially I know some areas that are really beautiful and some trails they're really beautiful. But I'll actually show you a site from a Netflix series. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that as I pass that. But we're gonna hop on this bike and try to beat some of this heat and we'll get going. All right, yes, about a 70-mile loop, and that's about 110 kilometers. I've been eyeing this for a couple years, and just from what I can see through Google Maps and resources online, that it's going to be a beautiful route. We are going to experience about 99% of it as a multi-use trail like this. So dedicated to pedestrians and cyclists. So really excited about that. All right, so stay tuned till the end because I plan to recap my Strava metrics and go over the map of this route to share with you. But as a verbal orientation to this route, I'm going about 15 miles or so north on the Suncoast Trail. I'm going to make an east turn on Norvell Bryant Parkway. And then I'm going to make another south turn after about 20 more miles to the Withlacoochee State Trail. And I have been on parts of that, and it's beautiful. I will then make another west turn through some trails that go through wilderness parks, and I know that's also beautiful, through Brooksville along State Road 50 back to the trailhead. So that's the route. All right, these climbs are deceptively difficult, at least for me, a flatlander. But I'm up here in Hernando County, still going north on the Suncoast Trail. And I just crested that little hill and we're cruising. Okay, I'm about 10 miles into my day, and I think I've lost all the shade. So this part of the trail, it just doesn't have the vegetation overhanging the trail, at least on the side that I need it. So lost the shade. Probably won't get it back until the Withlacoochee State Trail, and that's about halfway through the day. I'll start getting shade again. I'm doing fine. I'm used to the heat. So on we go. There's my trip computer. What I use is a little app called Heads Up Display, HUD, and I like it. It's a a nice dark screen, doesn't eat up battery, and it gives me everything I need to know. I'm also recording my Strava metrics, so that's just recording my ride and my route and everything, and my miles per hour and all that. You can see up here I'm 12 miles in. Down here my average so far is 16.5 miles per hour. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So I've been here before a couple times. My first time was when I did my 100-mile ride. I did that from the house to here and back, and that was 100 miles back on my Bashetta Giro 20 bike. And now I'm on my Cruzbike S40, and I'll give you a little update. All right, just wanted to show you a little bit about how I set up the bike for today's 70-mile ride, 110 kilometers. So as far as nutrition, I've got this Ziploc bag of trail mix, a Lara bar, and some electrolyte packets, and it's just kind of strapped to this top tube bag that I just use for my flat kit, repair kit. I've got my wallet and my keys, so that's really it. I've got 2 water bottles as well, and if you have paid attention, since the last big ride I did, I upgraded my tires. But stay tuned and subscribe, because I will tell you a little bit more about that specifically. The last time I was here, this ramp was closed. It was still under construction, and so the trail stopped here, but this ramp is now open. They want me to... Hi, yeah.
Sorry, am I
interrupting? Oh yeah, no problem. What's your name?
I'm John.
Hey John, good to see you. Where are you from?
From London originally.
London, awesome.
32 years ago.
Yeah, awesome. All right, walking up this pedestrian ramp. They want us to dismount the bike to go over it, so I'm just obeying that and getting a chance to walk anyway. Had a good talk with a guy named John. He's from London, and just compared notes on the ride and the day and some of our cycling experience. So it was really cool to catch up with him. He's been in Florida for 30 years though, so good talking with John. And here's US 98, also known as Ponce de Leon Boulevard, and we're gonna ride. It's the view of the trail going along these big power lines and along the Suncoast Parkway, and it's wide open, no shade. And it's like this for miles and miles. So I think I've got 5 to 10 miles left of this. It's also a dry section. There's no places to refill water bottles. So I have intentionally made it at the beginning of my ride today. And we're gonna finish up going through more areas that have retail places to purchase or fill up water bottles. All right, I think I've made it to the end of the Suncoast Trail, and I think this is where I take my right-hand turn. So this is my first turn of the day. All right, I'll stop and confirm this is my turn. Right up here. All right, that was my turn. So I'm headed east now,
And I'm going along, so far this is Highway 44, State Road 44. Just go a couple miles and then I go north again. All right, putting this away. Okay, so we have just a little sidewalk here. Feels like the best option. It's a pretty busy road. So about a mile of this, I think. Okay, so if you have Netflix, there is a show, a limited series called MerPeople, and my wife and I happened to watch that. And this is the site of one of the sites that they filmed at, and the owner is one of the central figures of the show. Really interesting show, so go check it out. I'll try to do this story justice really shortly. So basically, nearby is a place called Withlacoochee, and it's a big spring-fed river. So they have a big spring head, and back in old-time Florida, back in the 1950s or something like that, they built a theme park there, and ladies would dress up as mermaids and they would swim in the springs, and there was like a glass wall where people could watch them swim and kind of do a show. Well, the owner of this place, guy, he he really just fell in love with that concept, and he worked for Withlacoochee, but wanted to be a mermaid someday, and he just fell in love with that culture and ended up making tales for the mermaids and things like that, and just being part of the culture. Well, fast forward until he was able to swim a time or two at Withlacoochee as a mermaid, and also continue his business making the tales. But he opened this place here where there's a big aquarium, and they do mermaid shows here. So pretty awesome, pretty interesting story. But yeah, it's just one of those Netflix series you just got to go, wow, I didn't know that was a thing. So anyway, it's something that we're passing by today, so I thought I'd tell the story. All right, and on we ride. All right, we're rolling up to South Lecanto Highway, and we'll be heading north. So making another turn. All right, so yeah, that was about 1 mile of sidewalk, and I think that was the only non-trail that I had. And I'm back on some multi-purpose trail, and we're going to continue north on South Lecanto Highway, and we're going to make another right onto Norvell Bryant Parkway. And just an update, I'm about 27 miles into my day, so about a third of the way. Okay, spoke a little bit too soon. There's some construction up here, so they technically have the path closed. Look pretty clear, but I do see people working up here, so we're just hopping across the street to the sidewalk, and this looks good enough for me today. All right, I think I'm getting close to my turn towards the east, and there's just a lot of retail here. A lot of places to take a break and get some food. I'm still on the sidewalk because of that construction. So, but we're almost there. Okay, just went through the Wawa parking lot. Thought about stopping, but it was quite busy. So I'm on Norvell Bryant Parkway now, headed east. So my fourth turn of the day, I think, and I'm on multi-use trail again, so always nice. I think I've got about 10 miles till the Withlacoochee State Trail. All right, and just off the trail, actually, there's a rest stop. It's a good place to fill up my bottles and go to the restroom. All right, I'm at the break spot here as I just turned onto Norvell Bryant Parkway going east. And I've got my bike here in the shade, so a good spot for a break. Had the bathrooms right there and some pavilions and water to refill. So I'll do that. Having a Lara bar right now. And the only other things I packed is some trail mix and then some packets of electrolytes in there. There's a lot of retail along this area, so if I feel like I need to supplement, I've got this whole stretch until you know, some parts of the Withlacoochee, and then it won't be until Brooksville, and that's the next opportunities for some retail stuff to buy some food and drinks. All right, and that's the update. All right, I'm 36 miles into my day, and I'm sitting at 14.5 miles per hour now. That cut across on the South Lecanto Highway really slowed me down on that sidewalk. So anyway, came to my turn. Now I'm going south. I'm going to turn south here onto the Withlacoochee State Trail. So that goes right there up to the right. All right, here we go. All right, immediately you see we have lots of shade. That's wonderful. Okay, so I'm taking this something like 20 miles south, and then I make a nice turn onto another really awesome trail. How great is this? I love this. All right, made it to a rest stop. Here's a nice sign that kind of gives an overview of the Withlacoochee State Trail. I'm at one of the main trailheads here in Inverness. I'll show you more in a second. But I started somewhere up here. I don't know which one, if it was this one, or this one. But I have a feeling it was this one. Not sure. And I'm here. And so then my plan is to continue riding down all the way to this intersection, I believe. It's here or here. And it goes through this Croom wildlife area, and it goes back through Brooksville, back to where I started. So we've got some ways to go here, and then I'll make my way back. All right, so we have a restroom building here, and some benches and a pavilion over there, picnic tables. Swinging back over here. That's called Liberty Park building there, and that's on the lake. And there's an old railroad car over there. And yeah, just a bunch of trailhead stuff. Places to fill your water bottle. And that's it. Okay, I'm having lunch. It's about 1 o'clock, and I'm about 40 miles into my day. And I stopped here in Inverness. It's called the train station. And I'm starting out with ice cream. Swirl ice cream with that cereal on it, Fruity Pebbles. And I've got a vitamin water over here too. And I'm waiting on my pizza. So yeah, I'm gonna have a nice little lunch here, refuel, and then we'll keep going. Almost done with the ice cream. And the pizza arrived, yay. Okay, a little 45-mile check-in. Thought I'd give an update. Still on the Withlacoochee State Trail. Had that good lunch with the pizza and the ice cream. And getting a lot of great shade here. It actually feels like it's on the cool side. With all the shade and just kind of moving through the air like this. Yeah, it's real nice. So I really like the Withlacoochee State Trail. There's at least 10 miles left of this, and until we make our turn to the right, to the back to the west, and that'll take us towards Brooksville. All right, look at that sign, R801. So what that means is this used to be a rail trail, and it used to mark how far away you are from Richmond, Virginia. And so they left the railroad markers there, and that's what that means. 56-mile check-in, doing pretty good. It's back to being warm again. I'm still traveling south on the Withlacoochee State Trail, which is beautiful and lots of shade. But I am expecting to turn west onto the Good Neighbor Trail real soon here. So just wanted to give an update. Still cruising. All right, it's about 2:30, 2:40 in the afternoon, and I'm feeling this late August heat here in Florida. So yeah, big day. I'm at 61 miles. What we'll see next is actually maybe my favorite part of the trail. I've been on this before. Goes through the Croom Wildlife Management Area. It's just a nice trail through the forest, and it's just a nice looking forest too. Just the beautiful trees. So anyway, that'll be a nice section. According to my math, I should only have about 10 miles left, but I have a feeling it's a little bit more than that to get back to the trailhead. So just gonna take a little rest here, and then we'll bike on. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Road closed. I mean, I need to get like that direction. So I'm going to look at the map and see what my options are. Maybe I press through here. Maybe there's a road. There's not too much going on here. I mean, it's like a private property and then like a dirt road right here. All right. Okay, past the detour. So they were just doing different trail maintenance. At first it was really just they were putting down new oil or tar on some of the cracks. I was able to go around that. I just went through the detour. Then I got to where all the workers were present, and they were actively like working on the trail with machinery. It was a little more intense, so I stopped and I asked one of the workers how to get around this. So I actually had to go around on the roads, unfortunately. But yeah, just a temporary issue with construction. So I got bit by construction twice on the trip. All right, we're going to bike on. I'm just getting into Brooksville now. All right, they had water fountains here, and it makes a big difference in the heat where you get the ones that are refrigerated water, and that one was. So I've dumped a bunch of it on my head and just relaxed under that pavilion right there. So ready to finish out this ride. Hopefully it's within a few miles, I think 4 or 5 miles from now. but we'll see. All right, we made it through Brooksville. There's a lot of turns as you go through, and some of them are really glorified sidewalks going through the town, going right in front of businesses and stuff. So had that detour, so I'm glad to be through Brooksville, and it looks like I just have about 2 or 3 miles left, and it's right along State Road 50 right to the trailhead. All right, so I'm gonna finish this ride out.
Here's the Strava recording of my ride. I'll start with some of the metrics. 79.5 miles, and it was 127 kilometers. Moving time of 5.5 hours. The elapsed time was 7.5 hours, and that just includes breaks and lunch and stop to talk to somebody. Had an average speed of 14.25 miles an hour and a max of 30 miles per hour going down a hill. And next I'll jump into the route itself. All right, and now for the route. I started at the trailhead at State Road 50 and Suncoast Parkway. And I'll zoom back out to kind of give you an idea where this is. So this is north of Tampa in Florida. So zooming back in, just some general milestones of the ride that you saw in the video. This is the Suncoast Parkway. It is a dedicated multi-use trail. And I stopped for a break here under the overpass, and I talked to the guy from London named John. And I went up over this pedestrian bridge here over Ponce de Leon Boulevard. And then it starts to kind of open up, no shade to speak of in this northern section. It's pretty dry. There's not much retail and things like that. And I finally made a turn at mile 25 here onto Gulf to Lake Highway, which I think is also State Road 44. This was sidewalk for about a mile. I turned north onto Lecanto Highway. South Lecanto Highway turns into North Lecanto Highway. This is where I had to cross over because of construction. This was also multi-use path, except that it was closed for construction, so I jumped over to a sidewalk, which really slowed me down through this section here. You get a gas station down here, and you get a lot of retail here, another gas station and convenience store here. Zooming in, this is the Norvell Bryant Highway, which I made my turn to the east. And this was, again, was multi-use path, and there was a nice rest stop here. So I took advantage of that with some good shade and bathrooms, and filled up my water bottles, and multi-use path for about 10 miles, and then made the turn onto the Withlacoochee State Trail. And this is where I got a lot of shade again, which was really nice. So this is where some of my favorite trail is Withlacoochee State Trail into the next turn that I have. And so this turn was at about 36.25 miles into my ride. And so the Withlacoochee State Trail is a rail trail, meaning it used to be a railroad bed, and now it's a multi-use trail. I stopped in Inverness for lunch, and also the sign was here that we looked at the sign. Lunch was pizza and drink and ice cream. And then I continued. And so this was about 30 miles on the Withlacoochee State Trail down to this turn right here. And I took a break right at this turn. And this was at 61 miles right here. This is also a really nice trail. The trail is kind of dry down on the south end of the Withlacoochee State Trail, not many opportunity for water, and into this Good Neighbor Trail as well. The detour was right as I was coming into Brooksville, somewhere in here, and there weren't many options for jumping on a different road. I would had to have backtracked. I looked at this on Google Maps, and it was not a great bikeable road, so I just wasn't sure. So I continued through, and that was fine until I got to some active construction work on the trail. I asked one of the workers, and he recommended I go down this way, and I had about a 2-foot shoulder to ride on here, and it was fine until Jefferson Street right here. Jefferson Street had some traffic, but I turned off of that and I got back onto the trail. And going through Brooksville, you have multi-use trail, but it goes, right in front of businesses and stuff like that. It's kind of nice, kind of hilly, but you go through another park here, and there's opportunity for water, and then finally going through right. Let's see, there's one other place. Yeah, one other place I stopped for water, that was right here. So near Jefferson Street again, at this park. And refrigerated water, pavilion. It was a nice 10-minute break. So that was here. And then just hop back on the Good Neighbor Trail, which is multi-use trail going along State Road 50, right through here. And then I just continued back to the trailhead. And that was the ride. We'll jump back into a few metrics in just a second. Okay, now for a few more metrics. We're just going to take a quick look at the elevation profile. So you can see, if you look over to the right here, you'll see a lot of 60 to 70 feet on some of the lower areas. And then you have little hills, jumps up to about 100 feet, 110 feet, 130 feet here and there. And then the 110 feet goes back down to 47, 55 feet, back up to 100 feet. And then probably one of the biggest climbs was this here, going from 40, 50 feet up to 100 and I think there was about 180 feet in here. Yeah, right there. So that was probably the biggest climb, over 100 feet of climb. Not too big, but that explains some of the speed differences, as we'll see further down. 150 feet down to 30 some feet. Yeah. And that was really just that first section going north, and then on the Norville Bryant Parkway, that's where all the hills were. Then it flattens out with the Withlacoochee State Trail, because that was a railroad bed, so they usually make those flat. Going through Brooksville, I had some hills as well. All right, as for speed, you can see I fluctuated quite a bit depending if I was climbing or going down a hill. And so lots of teens. You can see I have some 20s in there too, just briefly, 10, 29, 28, 20. So lots of fluctuation through here. And then I slowed down on that sidewalk section right here. I was going like 12, 10, and then back to the teens in this area, 20. And then the day got, a little longer and hot. So I think you can kind of see how I kind of slowed down in through here. Withlacoochee State Trail, pretty flat, a lot of teens. Got up to 20 though, 21. So that's kind of how that went. And I slowed down at the end of the day. And I don't have a sensor, so the power is just kind of there. And those were my stats. All right, I hope you enjoyed this route, and thanks for watching.